What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show. What type of lever could be built that could handle the weight?
Oh man,
That's what I'm trying to put together.
Have you ever seen these like modern day bulldozer tractor things try to pick up blocks, limestone blocks that are the same size as the
No, I've
ones?
definitely never watched that.
Okay, there are videos that you could pull up that other people can pull up of it's not a tractor, but it's like a cat machine, like the things that scoop up things that are heavy, like big blocks.
Okay.
And it's trying to lift up a limestone block that's the size of a very large limestone block that would have been used in the Great Pyramid or on the pyramids. And it's so heavy that the block actually lifts up the tractor rather than the tractor lifting the blocks.
I have a video right here, so let's put it up on the screen. If I can't put this in the corner of the screen, that's going to be because it's copyrighted on YouTube.
This isn't the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that doesn't look like a lot. It looks like a fucking mattress.
No, that's it right there.
Right there, a cat bulldozer trying to lift heavy rock.
Yeah. So the rock lifts the bulldozer, dude. And that rock,
my God.
That rock is roughly the same size as some of the blocks that would have been used.
No fucking way, then.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it? It's hard to believe. You have all this conflicting evidence.
Yeah, that's the word. Because even where you stand and you admit it, and people on the other side should admit it too, there's significant evidence pointing to each other, right? Pointing to one or the other. This is, and I'm simplifying it right now. Group A is it was built in 2500 in Egypt by the Egyptians. They fucking figured it out. Group B is anything else, right? So whenever it was built, whoever did it, however, but some sort of intervention, whatever it is.
Dude, that's
this
crazy.
is nuts.
Yeah.
Again, if I can't put that in the corner of the screen, maybe you'll be able to see a small part of it on our screen here in the studio, because I could definitely do that and not get tagged, I think. But wow.
Yeah. So I should preface, though, the block in that video, I've seen this video a few times. The block in that video is an exceptionally large block, even for the Egyptians, but the Egyptians did move blocks that big. So it's really, really hard to explain. So from my point of view, I think, yes, the Egyptians did it. The timelines could be wrong. But
if the timelines are wrong and they did it even before then, it gets like they're even less advanced.
Yeah. So it's hard to wrap your mind around.
And you covered in some, and I'm just trying to remember because we just went through it. You covered some of the whole like power source possibility right there, right?
No, I didn't talk about the power plant, but I think that's like.
That's what I'm looking for, power plant.
Yeah, I think the Giza power plant. I think that's Chris Dunn's book. I've never read Chris Dunn's book, but I think that his power plant theory is pretty, like, most people don't really buy into it. It doesn't stand with a lot of weight on it.
And what is he? I think Danny just had him in too. What is his? How does he try to explain that?
I think he ties in. He alludes to the fact that there's like underground river chambers that are running underneath Giza, and he draws a parallel between that and Nikola Tesla's tower, like his electricity tower that was built on top of like these underground rivers to use as electricity. But I don't really know much about the Giza power plant theory other than that. It's just not something that like off the bat that I'm like that I think is even a little bit remotely possible.
All right, so we won't stay on that at all.
Yeah.
I got to listen to his podcast with him.
I'm definitely going to listen to that podcast, and I'm interested in it, but like, dude, I have so much stuff that I'm studying that like the Giza power plant just isn't like the top of my list.
Fair.
And I think even people who are in like the skeptic community don't really subscribe to the Giza power plant theory either.
What do you?
Because I think electricity is like, that's our thing. That's our civilization's thing. You know what I mean? I don't think that, Well, then there's the Baghdad Battery. Have you ever heard of that?
The Baghdad Battery.
Yeah, there's some kind of like I won't spend too long on this because
I think Matt talked to me about this because
I'm not an expert on this. But there's a thing called the Baghdad Battery, which theoretically, people look at it and it has the makeup of a modern day battery with the correct materials to be able to conduct electricity. Could just be coincidence, might not be coincidence. But anyways, I think that electricity is kind of our thing. That's our recent thing that, Thomas Edison and everything, or maybe he was a light bulb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Edison was light bulb, right?
But
Ben Franklin discovered electricity.
Yeah. Man, that guy did a lot. Holy crap.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I went through a whole rabbit hole. We won't get stuck on this, but my second favorite thing is American history. And so,
Very cool.
like from Revolution to World War II, and man, founding fathers did a lot.
Yeah,
like, people don't realize
gangsters in there,
people talk like, I find it funny nowadays when people talk down on the founding fathers. I'm like, you realize you're talking down on like the equivalent of Aristotle.
Listen, they really, and I don't think it's revisionist history to be like, hey, America's the greatest ever. I think it's like pretty legit. Some of the things that I won't even say had foresight for, but you could even say that at the very least that they created language in that document, the Constitution, to be able to protect against in the future. Now, obviously, we've had to change things. There's been a bunch of amendments. Like, nothing's perfect. But, like, as far as the things that they built into that document to help us so far into the future, it blows my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the genius of that document cannot be understated.
Yeah.
It's just, these guys, I mean, look, they were a rabid bunch of rebels who said, let's fuck around and secede.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be a little crazy and like a little smart and a little stupid and a little ballsy all at the same time.
And they were all like morally ambiguous guys. I mean, you look at Thomas Jefferson, he was not a good guy. He was not a good person.
No, he was not.
He grew up, he was such a bad guy. This is the guy who wrote the Constitution.
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, Declaration of Independence. And then did he help write the Constitution after that?
Yeah. Third president.
But so he was such a bad guy, and I don't mean to derail on this.
No,
but
we can go off for a minute.
Yeah,
we'll come back to our other stuff, people.
Yeah, he was such a bad guy that he grew up on his property in Charles, Virginia.
Something like that.
And I went to his plantation last year, and
Charlottesville, right?
Charlottesville, that's right. Yeah, same place that the Waltons was filmed. You know what the Waltons are? It's like an old TV show, kind of like Andy Griffith. But he grew up on that plantation, and when he was a kid, he was very liberal for however liberal you can be in the early 1700s, right? So he was liberal enough to look around at slavery and be like, this is wrong, and so he wrote about slavery being wrong. And then his parents die. He inherits his plantation and keeps all of his slaves.
And fucks them all.
Yeah, and doesn't let any of them go free at all, not even his children.
Yeah.
Not even his his slave children.
And slavery is something that, like, was such a fucking horrible, like, it's the worst black eye on our history without a doubt. And I look back on it with some of these guys, because let's call it what it is. Some of these founding fathers were slave owners, and there's no defending that. Yep. I think the for as smart as some of these guys were, the stupidity of like humanity and progress, there's some leaps I can make to, I'm trying to think how to say this, not forgive that, but understand that there was a stupidity of the times. Yeah. And, there's things we do now that I'm sure humans 500 years from now will think is absolutely savage.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.